Hi friends, David here from Luring Christmas Lighting. I'm going to keep this short, I'm going to keep this sweet. What I want to do here is page through my show from last year, and I want to talk through the things I liked, the things I didn't like. Because I think it's really good as we prepare, and it's July, things are in full swing. A lot of us really starting to work on our displays for 2023. No, 2022. What year is it anyways? And, if you're going to improve, if you're going to work on new stuff for a new year, it really makes sense to look at what you did last year, figure out what you liked, figure out what you didn't like. Now, of course, for me, as many of you guys know from this channel, we're at a new house now. We're going to be adding lights, going to have different lights. So that's a whole thing. But also, I'm still going to be using this same stuff, and I'm still going to be sequencing a lot of my songs. I don't always sequence all my songs, but I do a lot of them myself to learn to get better and just to, bring my own style to it. So with that said, let's go ahead and we'll dive in. We're going to look at my show from last year here on the screen. I'm just literally playing it from YouTube. And we're going to analyze what I did, and I'm going to talk about it. Okay? Welcome to Lights of the Season. We are so glad you are here. Just a few notes before our show begins.
The music can be heard on 103.9 FM. We want to be respectful of our neighbors, so please...
Alright, so first things first, we love our happy light bulbs, our chatting light bulbs. That's me and my wife. We might even get the kids involved this year. One thing I don't love is that I've got my Tune 2 sign. Here's my debate with Tune 2 signs, and I don't have an answer right now. I like having it in the sequences so it always matches the colors of the song, but I hate that it has to black out between songs. So anywho, we've got this intro here. Play through it.
Please keep the music at a reasonable volume. We also ask...
It looks the same through the whole intro, so I'm just jumping ahead. And so here's where we say goodbye, and then we head into the first song. We'll play a little bit of it, and then I'll tell you my opinions on the sequencing. Alright, so first things first, I love the energy that this song brings. It is Little Drummer Boy by The Almost. And I love that look we've got on the moving heads. I've had a couple people ask me about that, the look on the Dominar, so we'll hop into the chorus here and play it in a second. So what that is and what makes that look cool is that it's a value curve on the pan, the side-to-side movement of them. And because I have 4 lights, and music works in 4s a lot, I have a value curve for them panning side to side, and I have that offset by 90 degrees. I have the curve shifted 90 degrees. You can do that in the settings for each light so that it's nice and balanced. But then we do a different value curve. Actually, I think it's just an intensity effect on and off. No, it's not an intensity effect. I'm sorry. It's a color effect on a value curve going between 0, which is open, no color, white, and the first color, which is red. And that is at slightly different timing than the movement, so that things keep changing. It keeps looking different, but in a musical and in an on-beat way. You can see it again here. Alright, to jump ahead here real quick, the one thing I don't like about this song that I did do is that I don't love when the floods strobe a lot. I feel like it's a little bit much. So anywho, that's the first song. We'll run to the end of it real quick here. Let's see where the end of it is. Yep, this is the last chorus, so watch through that, and then let's get into the next song. Oh, I do wish one quick thing here is for the past years, and I will do it this year, we just have this wreath that we stick in our door. It's nothing fancy. It's literally a Walmart wreath that we got, you know, after the season 1 year. I gotta put some lights on that thing. Been meaning to do that. Of course, at the old house, our door was kind of set back. You can probably see that. It's about 4 feet back from the face of the house the rest of the way. So it wasn't as important, but I gotta get some lights on that thing.
Told me pum 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 pum, me and my drum.
Next song.
Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him.
I do have to say here, before the Dominars, the beams on the roof kick in, I just love these sticks that I got from Wally's Lights last year. These are his little waterfall tubes, he calls them. And they just, I love how good they look. Just how, you know, nicely they play effects, how easy they are to put up, and just patterns that run on them. Like in the last song, we'd run the VU meter on them. In this song, they're running this scroll of bars, and they just look so darn good. I love those things. I don't know where I'm going to use them at the new house yet, but we will use them. Alright, so in this song, pretty simple. It repeats the same things over and over again, kind of got the same color scheme going on, and bringing the Dominars in and flashing them in 2 segments, you know, 1, 2, 1, 2. Oops, that's the next song already. For the most part, at the end, I think we do something a little bit different, but we keep it pretty simple, and I think it works well. I don't want to, you know, I was thinking through, I was like, oh, well, we could show the whole thing, and I know sometimes people like director's cuts of movies where they literally show the whole movie and talk over the whole thing. I don't want this video to be like 2 hours long, because I think that's stretching it a little much. So if you want to see the whole video, we'll be sure to link to that below, the whole show from last year, because we've got it here on the channel. But want to just make the point here that that's not it. But yeah, we got our singing faces in here, singing at the end here. And this is just a big reminder too, like especially with moving heads. People go, oh, moving heads always steal the show, blah, 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 blah. They don't have to be the centerpiece all the time. And I think this is a good example of that in this song, because they turn on, they flash in segments, but I don't move them at all. And that's okay. It still adds to the show, and it gives you more space to that when they do move in the next song, it's more impactful. Actually, not the next song, but further on. So that's that song. Great song. Worked out well. Next song is Let It Snow by the Holcombs. I believe it's by Drew Holcomb and his wife Ellie. I forget exactly which band this is under. And what we did for this one, this is pretty cool, was we've got them singing. Spent a lot of time working on the singing faces. Okay, here we'll just go to a frame. Okay, play a little.
So stopping, and I brought some corn for popping.
We've got the moving heads with their prism in, shining up into the air. I'm going to be the first to admit, unless it was really humid, you really couldn't see the beams that much, and that's typical for beams in the air with a prism when, you know, it's regular winter air. In order to get the most out of a beam, you got to have it focus sharp, which for the Dominar beam is focus channel at full. You've got to have a good amount of, you just got to have humidity in the air, right? But yeah, just kept this song. It's a slow song, so we don't want to belabor it and make it flashy, make it something that it's not. So we do a snow effect on the house with snowflakes falling over like almost everything because it's let it snow. And then we've got the male and female voice on the two bulbs singing, including at the end there's a fun part where they talk, and that took quite a while on the singing faces to get that right. We do a little bit, yeah, when the fire's slowly dying, bring in the fire.
And my dear, we're still goodbye. But as long as you love me so.
And that's really it. All right, let's hop to the next song and talk about it. So the next song, I believe, is this it? Yep, Go Tell It on the Mountain, Need to Breathe. Great song. I wanted to start out a little bit different, so we're just using the conventional lights that I don't love. The icicles, they probably will never be back in my show again, but we had them, we used them, they were fun, and had these two matrices on as well.
Jesus Christ is born, while shepherds kept their watching over silent flocks by the earth.
On this one, I ended up incorporating a cool shader down on these matrix panels, and I think it's also on these guys, these horizontals. Looked really cool. I liked it a lot. With the moving heads, we really kept them out of this one. I think at the very, very end of the song, we turn them on, I think, if I could find it. But other than that, kept them out of there, and that's fine. Nice, simple song again. Just a little bit of movement on everything. Keep it simple because we're going to get to the next song. Now this next song, this song's a song that most people say is cute. It's called His Favorite Christmas Story by a band called Capitol Lights, and it's a song about a guy and a girl. Yeah. And there's two voices. We do them on the two bulbs, and also do a nice red and white deal on the movers. Do a little bit of a squiggle effect. I forget exactly what effect that is. It's a fun song. It's also worth noting here, a lot of people say, and you'll hear this with moving heads, they say, hey, you can't see the beam unless it's in white. And yes, it's brighter in white, but you're going to see throughout the show, like here we do a white-red, and, you know, on some nights you don't see the red of the beam. On other nights, if it's a little more humid, you actually do see that in the air. And it does make an impact. And red, for most beam fixtures, whether LED or lamp-based, they typically have a pretty cool beam color temperature-wise, meaning that there's a lot of blue in that white. There's not a lot of amber. And because there's not a lot of amber, reds are definitely the dullest colors. Still, if you have a good beam and it has good colors into it, there should be at least 5 or 6 colors that in a Christmas light show with no haze or fog or additional stuff in the air, you should still be able to see them pretty good. And that is the case with these guys.
It was the night before Christmas, it was love at first sight. The carolers sang as they danced through the night. She was a small town girl, he was a traveling guy. He never caught her name before they said their goodbyes. A couple years later, he was out on the road, having Christmas dinner in a diner alone, when he saw a young waitress with a gleam in her eye.
Big tip here as well, don't do as I say, not as I do. You know, when I took my photo, I actually used a photo very similar to this on my layout with a wider angle lens. I think it was just my phone. And That puts this matrix looking nice and level and square, but then this one being closer to the side of the lens, you can see it in this video too, it kind of goes sideways a little bit, it tilts just a little bit because it's at the edge of the lens. So the do as I say, don't as I do moment is that in X-Lights, I took this matrix and I had it tilted just a little bit to match the picture, and that was a bad idea. Let's see if we could stop it on a video. On a segment where it's bad. It's really hard to get it and YouTube keeps making it smaller. There's the spot. So here you can see, because the matrix isn't perfectly straight in X-Lights, if you do something that goes side to side or up and down, sometimes you get lines that are not quite right because you've got an effect that's perfectly sideways with a model that's slightly tilted, and you get weirdness like that where you get these funky like half lines that come up. Again, is it a deal breaker? No. Did anyone watching the show ever mention anything about it or even think about it? They definitely didn't mention anything. They probably didn't think about it. But, you know, we all want to do a good job. And so if you have matrices, I would say do your best to keep them totally flat, totally, you know, plumb, horizontal, not tilted in your X-Lights layout.
Her spirits were high. She said, "Sir, can you shed a little heart?"
All right, so enough on that song, I think. Let's go ahead. It does pretty much the same stuff. You know, isn't that the fun thing about rock music? It repeats itself. Next song. So this was Star of Wonder by Sarah Groves, I believe. Great song. Real slow. Real moody. And so we're very purple, which is intense on the camera. It's not that crazy. And then at the chorus, we do this star look. That went away. Bringing in the icicles. Everything else is warm white. We've got some stars. And then our dominars on the roof. It does look better in person than in this picture. Going straight up in a pattern like that, up into the sky. Looks awesome, creates that kind of star vibe, and really worked well.
Proceeding, guide us to thy perfect light.
And so that's that song. Again, you know, clean look, slow song, don't overthink it, etc. Next song. Let's see. There it is. Yes, so this is What Child Is This by Seabird. Great song, great rock and upbeat version of What Child Is This. You'll see in the bridge and also the chorus, I think, we use the orange in the dominars, and it really does pop. It pops in person. You can use colors with moving heads. A couple other things to note. We have the effect per model on these snowflakes, so when they spin, it instead of being one giant spinner, it's 3 individual. Yeah, other than that, it's just a fun upbeat song. Let's watch it.
What child is this who laid to rest on Mary's lap is sleeping, whom angels greet with anthems sweet, while shepherds watch are keeping.
There they are. Another thing to note about moving heads and visibility is the more perpendicular it is, the more flat the beam gets, the more pointing directly at the audience, the lower it gets. You notice on camera it really pops like super bright. It's the same in person. Now, of course, depending on where you have your moving heads mounted and where your neighbors' houses are in comparison to yours, is going to determine how low you can go. And here's my people. That was the sound real quick of my family coming home, and I'm working out of a closet right now, so just gonna close that for a minute. And you'll see here when these moving heads, they're in orange, and when they come down, I got it as low as I could without hitting neighbors' windows, and they get real bright. Yeah, so you probably saw that. The beams get down low. They look good. Other than that, I just spin and chase things around in red and white, and that's basically the song. This is the bridge. We go orange. We'll show you that for a sec. And it's interesting to me as I look back on this and I think about my sequencing, and I know I had time constraints. Things got really busy last year. Things are busy all the time, aren't they? Huh. I noticed that on this one, the effects that I've got going on the floods work really well in my mind. Like the first song, I was frustrated with how stroby they were. I think using the audio effect and using the harsher, like, you know, exacting where they're on, off, on, off, on, off isn't good. But something like this where they're part of a color chase and it's smooth between the two colors, it looks good, and I think it works a lot better on the floods and doesn't make it distracting. Awesome, and then I think we have one more song here. Let's find out. Yes, Merry Christmas, here's to many more. By Relient K.
Gotta say thank God.
It's a slow song, but we do something interesting at the end. So as the chorus builds up, we do some little chasing and some VU meter effects.
Then I'm home, heading doors to get out of this weather. And I don't know how.
So nice little chases on the window, chases around the snowflake. We'll chase going one direction here on these Wally's pixel tubes, and a VU meter down on these guys. And then when we get to the chorus, let's find it, or the bridge, sorry. The Dominars come in, and we're doing a color scroll. Let's show you.
But the closest friends I've ever known. With mistletoe, may all your heavy burdens go up the chimney.
Oh yes, and when I shot this in my sequence, I had 3 of them doing a color scroll, and one of them, it accidentally didn't save in X-Lights. I forget why. I just forgot. I missed one of the units. And so they're just going and scrolling through the whole color wheel, which for a lot of moving heads, they have that built into the DMX, where maybe like for a lot of them, you go past all the color selections and then you have a color scroll clockwise or counterclockwise that you can activate. And if you go look at that and just tweak it, you know, based on your show, if you have a song where you just want to throw a splash of color and movement in, this can be a great way to do it, and just have it, you know, go through all its colors, look interesting, make an impact. Not for every song, but, you know, there are times where that effect does work.
A cloud of smoke, the fire's burning bright. Strike up the band and play the tune, 'cause Christmas will be here and soon. Hear our song.
And then that's it. And then we talk again at the end through our singing bulbs, and we wait out the time a little bit, just because, actually I can leave that up, just because we made this last year. We made it exactly 30 minutes, just as a test, just to, like, you know, make it a complete end-to-end show that ended on the hour or half hour. Again, not required. It worked well for us. We liked it. But you can do what you want. But I hope from this video, from this, you know, director's cut of my show last year, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope maybe watching it helped you get some ideas on some ways you could do things better in your show, because ultimately that's what we're all here for. And if you like this, if you're new to Christmas lighting, head over to learnchristmaslighting.com, grab my free guide to begin with Christmas lighting. It's the 4 things I wish I knew before I started with Christmas lighting, and it's yours free. Just enter your email, hop over there on learnchristmaslighting.com. We'll get that right to you. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.